We the saints and the Most High. All praise to YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. We the saints and the Most High. All praise to YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI.
All praise to the Most High. See these saints, we don't move like most guys. The light here so I can step with closed eyes and still see the enemy coming from both sides. Come to the saints and get sanctified. You ain't holy if you ain't got a saint to ride. I'm a saint for death and a saint for life. So it was probably the same in my ancient life. I was a man of sin that paid the price and still owe. So I'm trying to get my wages right. This for the masses. Yahweh been kicking our asses, cause we're the children of Israel, if you ask us.
We the saints and the Most High. All praise to YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. We the saints and the Most High. All praise to YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. We the saints and the Most High. All praise to YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. We the saints and the Most High. All praise to YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. Well, and we them saints that sing a new song. It's our people dying every time we turn the news on. It's our people wearing capes, getting their coon on. For the ones who took it on, never putting you on. See, we dealing with the Stockholm syndrome. Talking to my people when they not gonna listen. They listen to these crackers, they got no wisdom, got no flavor.
Shalawam, shalawam, shalawam. Let's give all praises, honor, glory, esteem to the Father Yahweh and his only begotten Son, our brother, friend, Hamashiach Yahawashi in the Hebrew. In English, you may say Jesus Christ. When we say Hamashiach, that means the anointed one, the one who was sent here to this earth, the one who was smeared with oil, the one who came with the message, our big brother, our savior, right? So we give praises to the Father and his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahawashi. Peace and blessings, shalawam, to all of the Ahchyam and the Ahchwathyam, which are the brothers and sisters scattered to the four corners of the earth. Peace and blessings. May you continue to fight, keep fighting the good fight. Thank you for tuning in. For those that are tuned in, I know it's early. You know, I have to do them early because I'm at the plantation, or I have to go to the plantation, I should say. Shalawam, Ak, for being here. The brother, I want to say it's Sarit out of Sarit. I think that's the way you pronounce it, Sarit. So Shalawam, Ak, for being here. Tune in. This is a great lesson. Do me a favor. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button and share it, right? And share it. Once again, peace and blessings to the four corners of the earth, man. What a beautiful thing is that we could be able to do these type of lessons, these type of messages to get this message out to the four corners of the earth. So it's a beautiful thing that the Most High has allowed us to be able to use this tool to get his word out, right? And as you can see, the title, it says, don't talk about it, be about it. And that's what we have to do. So I'm going to go through some things in the scriptures to kind of show you some examples other than Hamashiach Yahawashi, Christ, because we know he was about it because he saved us. So I want to show some other people in the Bible that was about that life, living for the Most High, doing the things that the Most High has said do. But before I get started on that, I actually want to show a short little video of a brother, the Ak, spilling out some amazing, how can I put this? Knowledge. I just say this. He was putting forth some amazing knowledge. You know, as the Bible says, don't look at the outside. Listen to what the person is saying and then their actions. Now, the man may be going through something in life, but believe me, he does know what he's talking about. So as we go here, I just want to show this video and then we're going to dive into the scriptures. Once again, all praises be to the Father Yahweh and his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahawashi, right? And once again, the water for the brothers. Salute to you, brother, for tuning in. And let me see if anybody's in here. Let me see if put a 1 in the chat if the audio and everything is good. Put a 1 in the chat if everything is good. But let me show this video real quick and we'll move forward. Share my screen. Con.
You gotta teach. They don't know. The only God they know is through you, through your experience. They don't know about church because you can't go to church because it's a business. And all the church people, it's a clique, it's a club. And they done forgot about God. It's a business. Look at here. It's just the world. Ain't nobody being bold and talking about God because don't pray in school, take the prayer out of school, all these things. It's the world. We're getting in a time where God is not popular no more. And if you talk about it, I don't believe in Jesus. I don't believe in God. I believe in this. I don't care what you believe in. Let my spirit speak for me. Let my action. But it was a time when I was just a hearer and not a doer. But it got to balance out. You got to go through the fire in order to be a doer too. You're going to be a hearer, then you're going to be a doer. But don't let people throw you off your journey. You can't beat nothing. It's between your relationship with God. They can't understand you all the time because you're trying to figure out your way. I'm trying to figure out my way. I can't prove nothing to them all the time. I don't need them to figure me out. All I got to do is just be patient and do what was in my ability, my boundary. I don't need to outstep my boundaries. I ain't got to prove nothing to you. You didn't feel me? No, you can't gonna feel me. I can't put the expectation on you. I don't always feel me, understand me. So that's wrong. Be humble. Acknowledge him in all your ways. When I do wrong, I said something wrong to offend you, forgive me. I got to say it right away, get it over with. If I offend somebody at work, look, if they persecute me, look at God trying to strengthen me to show them who I serve. I say I believe, I'm working with it. Well, teach them. They don't know. They don't know why they're doing that, why they're doing that to me. Let your light shine among men. They might glorify your Father in heaven.
Like he said, teach them. They don't know. Teach them. They don't know. So we have to teach them. Right? This is why the book of Romans tells us how beautiful it is for the feet of who? The preacher, right? That's been sent. Teach them.
It's real, man. I experience it all the time, 24/7. But I asked for it. I wanted to be a preacher when I was 6, but I didn't know the price I had to pay. Much wisdom, much grief, much sorrow. Ain't no other way you're gonna get it. But if you can just go through the fire, you'll be like gold. The first thing they do when you go to a pawn shop and take what they do? How do they determine if it's gold plated or what? What they do? What kind of test they take it through? When you take the jewelry to the pawn shop, how do they determine if it's real or fake? They put it through the acid test. They put the fire upon it. This is how we know if we're real or fake. We're going to go through the fire. You're going to have disagreement with each other, but it's okay. You're going to be friends. But if you have a disagreement, it's just a different agreement. That don't mean you ain't got to see him no more and talk to her or talk to her or whatever. I want to go to work. I don't want to go to work because they're stressing me out on the job. You feel me? They ain't receiving me with my full potential. And I don't know why I don't want to go to work. I got to understand why. Why I don't want the job? Because something ain't right. And I got to acknowledge it. I ain't going to sell my soul for the job. God said, I'm trying to put you over here, or I'm trying to let them know through you, let your light shine. But I'm hating on them because they ain't feeling me. They don't understand me. Hey, man, you got to teach them. You see how they flee?
You heard what he said. Let me stop sharing that real quick. You heard what he said. You got to teach them, man. You got to teach them. They don't know. So that's why we do what we do, to be able to bring out this message, be able to teach this message. All praises be to the Most High that he left his words here for us to be able to show and reveal his true message, right? And it's already right here. So let's get a little bit of that, right? Let's go to this. Remember, this message is about what? Don't talk about it, be about it. All praises be to the Most High Yahawah, right? Let me share my screen real quick. Let me see. We're going to be going to the book of Deuteronomy. The book of Deuteronomy. Chapter 6. And we're going to be starting there. Let me blow it up. We'll start at verse 4. Right? Hear, O Israel, Yahawah, our power, our Allah is one, Yahawah. In the Hebrew, it's Shemai, Yashra Allah, Yahawah, Allahaya Nawa, Yakad, Yahawah. Right? Verse 5, and thou shalt love Yahawah thy Allah, which is your power, with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. This is something that, let's be honest, from what we can only see, I don't know what people do behind closed doors, but from what we can only see, believers, right? Believers to the four corners of the earth, especially those tribes, the 12, we have not been loving the Most High with all your heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. Because if that's the case, we wouldn't really necessarily be where we are right now, right? And this is a commandment. This is something that he's telling us, right? As Moses is writing this, and thou shalt love the Most High Yahawah, thy power, with all thy heart. We have to love him with all our heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And we clearly haven't been doing that. And this is something that we need to work on. This is why I wanted to do this lesson about be about it. Verse 6, and these words which I command thee this day shall be in thy heart. So this is a command, right? He commanded us this day. It shall be in thy heart. Verse 7, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children. So we need to teach our children these things, so when they go out in this wicked, perverse world, they can have some type of balance. They can have some type of foundation, right? And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shall talk of them when thou sittest in the house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. So basically, you should be talking about the Most High Yahawah all the time, to your children, to anybody. Definitely your children, though, in your household. Definitely, right? Let's go to the book of Sirach real quick. For those who don't know, that's the 1611 King James Bible. Those 14 books that was taken out, right? Let me get that. It's the book of Ecclesiastic Us, or better known as the book of Sirach or Sirach, however you want to pronounce it. Once again, like I said, it's in the 1611 King James Bible. You don't have one, you can pull it up online right now, as you can see. Just make sure you put 1611 KJV, and then it should look like this. And then you can go to the book of Ecclesiastic Us, and I'm at chapter 2, verse 1. I'll start at, and it says, my son, if thou come to serve Yahawah, prepare thy soul for temptation. So the Most High Yahawah is letting us know that when you come to serve him, or if you come to serve him, if you have been called to serve him, that you have to prepare thy soul for temptation. It's the same thing that Hamashiach Christ did when he went into the wilderness to prepare his soul for what? Temptation. He got baptized by John the Baptist, right? Then he was led away for 40 days, 40 nights. And then the tempter came when he was at his low state, right? He was at a low state. Then the tempter came. What? To give him what? Or put forth temptation in front of him. Right? If you're the son of the Most High, turn those stones into bread. If you the son of the Most High, he went and did some things. That's in Matthew chapter 4. Verse 2, it says, set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. So we have to constantly endure. Once again, Matthew 24 and 13. Who will be saved? Those that endure to the end, right? set thy heart aright, and constantly endure. So we find that word endure, even like I said, Matthew 24, verse 13, where it says, who will be saved? The one who endures to the end. So we have to endure all of the whole time we're here in life, all the way to the end. This is why it says that make not haste in time of trouble. What you trying to hurry for? You know, you don't know what you run into, the next obstacle that you run into. Verse 3, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayst be increased at thy last end. So if we cleave unto the Most High Yahweh and his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahawashi, you will be increased at thy last end. Meaning, maybe, I can't see with the guarantee, but if you're increased, maybe you may be in the kingdom, right? Maybe you may make the first resurrection. Verse 4, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate, right? For gold, remember what the video I just showed, what that brother just said, if you can go through it, then you will come out as gold, but you got to go through the fire. So verse 5 says, for gold is tried in the fire, an acceptable man in the furnace of adversity, right? So he gonna make you go through things to try you, to see what type of man or what type of woman that you are, right? Are you really a believer? Do you really believe in his only begotten Son? Do you really believe in him? Verse 6, it says, believe in him, and he will help thee order thy way right, and trust in him. So we have to believe in him. And if we believe in him, he will help us. How will he help us? He will order the way, right? The way that we're supposed to go, he will order it the right way, and trust in him. So we need to trust in the Most High Yahweh, right? Give me 1 second. Let me see. I'm going to close this door if these dogs don't stop. Let me see. Verse 7. It says, ye that fear Yahweh, wait for his mercy and go not aside lest you fall. So if we happen to go aside and we happen to leave him, then it says that we will go astray, right? That's what it's saying, that we will go astray. But I wanted to just show that real quick as we move forward. Let's go back to the book of Deuteronomy. Let's go back to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8. Let me share my screen. Let me see. Deuteronomy 8, right, is where I'm going to be reading from. If you're reading along, please do. Like I said, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8. And it says, all the commandments which I command thee this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which Yahweh swore unto your fathers, right? So we know this is the book of Deuteronomy. We know Moses wrote this, and it says in verse 2, and thou shalt remember all the way which Yahweh thy power led thee these 40 years. Salakia, let me close this door. Salakia, sorry about that. They just, for some reason, wanted to go crazy all of a sudden. Okay, I'll start at verse 2 again, and it says that thou shalt remember all the way which Yahweh thy power, because he is our power, led thee these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee and to prove thee, right? So the children of Israel was in the wilderness because he wanted to humble them, as it says right there, and to prove thee. So the Most High does prove you. That's why I played that quick little video real quick for what the brother said. Let me show you again for those who may tune in late or something like that. Let me show you real quick what I'm speaking about, right? The video. Listen to what he said, and then we're going to go right back to Deuteronomy. Listen to what the brother says. Watch this.
Because they ain't feeling me. They don't understand me. Hey, man, you got to teach them.
Once again, he says you got to teach them. That's what we must do. We must teach people the truth. Watch this.
You see how they flee? Yeah. They want $1, want a quarter. He could have got everything that he needed if he just would have been patient, but it's okay.
Isn't that what the Bible tells us? The Bible tells us the very word of the Most High. And not only that, his only begotten Son tells us to what? Be patient.
You recording this? Yeah. It's okay. I'm telling the truth. It's all right. I thank God for you. Y'all are blessing to me. A true blessing. I ain't got nothing to hide. My burdens are heavy, but when I'm weak, he's strong through me. He speaks through me. The weaker I get, the more frustrated I get with my life, and I did this, I did that, then the more he speaks through me, the more he takes control of me. That's just where he wants you at. Get frustrated. That's when he gonna speak through you. But he gotta get you in that point where ain't nowhere else to go but to him. He said, those that I love, I correct them. I chastise them. When you go to jail, it's called the Department of Correction, Rehabilitation. But we get mad at the correction. He said, if I didn't love you, I would correct you. He could have took our life. Amen?
He could take our life at any time. He could do this. He could take our, Shalawam. I don't know if you're still there. Shalawam, Brother Philip. Shalawam. We got the other brother, Cyrete. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He in the chat too, man. So Shalawam, Brother Philip. You know, he said Shalawam, checking in from the plantation. Call Allah YAHAWAH SHAM YAHAWASHI or Abnawa YAHAWAH SHAM YAHAWASHI. So thank you for tuning in. All praise is good to see. You know, you tuned in once again. The water. I know, hey, we all got to hit the plantation sometime. So, you know, but the water. But let me go back to Deuteronomy real quick. But I did want to show that because that brother was spitting some, you know, some fire, man. So once again, in Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 2, it says, and thou shalt remember all the way which Yahweh thy power led thee these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee. Let me highlight all that. He wanted to do what? Humble the children of Israel. So what do we must do? Just like the brother, the video I just said, what he kept saying through his whole video, be humble, humility. So this is something that we must have. Be about it. Don't just talk about it. Be about it. We got to be humble. The Most High said, why? He did these things to prove us. This is why we got to go in that fire. To prove, listen to what the last part say, to know what was in thy heart, whether that was keep his commandments or no. So this is why the Most High puts us through these trials and tribulations and these things that we go through in this world is to what? Prove us to see if we're going to keep his commandments or not. Are we going to give up? Are we going to throw in the towel? Are we going to say that's it? That's all? Or are we going to continue to move forward? So this is why he does what he does. And this is why we have to be about it. Don't talk about it. Be about it. You know, it's a lot. I've been doing this for a while, and it's a lot of people in Israel, or it's a lot of people that say they believe in the Most High and talk about it, but they're not really about it. They're not really willing to go to the extreme, you know. And I might be myself an extremist, you know. I forget what they call us. What's the word? I know they say Bible thumper, but it's another word that they use. But I may be extremist, but it's other extremists out there that believe in the Most High that's willing to do it, right? Verse 3. It says, and he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee known, or Salakia, that he might make thee know that man do not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Most High Yahweh doeth man live. Now, for those who realize what he's quoting, or I can't say what he's quoting, what he's saying, Christ himself quoted this very same thing in Matthew chapter 4, verse 4, right? If you look at this on the screen, he said that he might make thee know that man do not live by bread alone only, right? So let me just show you real quick. So you want to say I'm just saying that because I always like to show. Remember what he just said. So Matthew 4:4, as you can see right here, he says, but he answered and said, it is written. Where is it written? Well, I just showed you in Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 3. That's where it's written. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Most High. This is when he's being tempted. It said, then the devil taketh him up into a Quadash or holy city and sitteth him on a pinnacle of the temple, right? But Matthew 4:4, where is Christ getting this from? Right? Where is he getting this from? This is why he says it is written. Once again, where is it written? I just showed you. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 3. That man doesn't live by bread only, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Most High Yahweh doeth man live. And that's what we have to understand, that we live by the Most High, right? Every word. Thy raiment wax not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell those 40 years. So the Most High God has power to control their raiment, that they didn't get too old, the clothing. And not only that, they foot and things didn't swell. They didn't go through anything, right? Physically. For their foot to swell where they couldn't walk and they couldn't journey and things like that. Verse 8, thou shalt also consider in thy heart that as a man chasteneth his son. Listen to what he just said. Remember what the brother just said on the video. That's why I played the video. If you don't remember, please go back and rewind this and see what the brother just said. Verse 5. This is the law. This is the Torah. Thou shalt also consider in thy heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so Yahweh thy power chasteneth thee. Ain't that what the brother just said? That's why I don't want you to think like, oh, that brother just like he looked like a smoker, or you know, some people just so superficial that they just see people for, you know, physical or things like that. But listen to what he said right here, and then I'll go right back. Right? Let me see.
When you go to jail, they call it Department of Correction, rehabilitation. But we get mad at the correction. He said, if I didn't love you, I would correct you. He could have took our life. Amen?
Man, he could have took our life. Now, that's somebody that's at the stove that's having a conversation, a dialogue with two individuals. Now, if you see that man on the streets out at the gas station or something asking you for change, you may not even think that this man has this type of knowledge. But he's dropping jewels. Jewels. Like he's really spitting knowledge from the very word. And if you don't understand, you can see that he's quoting scripture. But somebody that doesn't know scripture may not understand what it is that he's saying. But he's quoting scripture, right? Right back to Deuteronomy. That's why I wanted to show that, right? Verse 5 again, thou shalt also consider in thy heart that as a man chasteneth his son, for those who have children, so Yahweh thy power or thy Allah chasteneth thee. Verse 6, therefore thou shalt keep the commandments of the Most High Yahweh, thy power, to walk in his ways and to do what? Fear him, meaning respect him, have reverence for him. This is what the Bible says. To fear him is the beginning of what? Knowledge or wisdom. Verse 7, for Yahweh thy power, Allah, bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks and waters, of fountains and depths, that springs, Salakia, and valleys and hills, right? Because this is when the children of Israel was about to go into their land, right? Now I want to show you an individual in here that was about it, right? He was really about it. And you can see for yourself. Let me pull it. Numbers. Once again, for those that are tuned in, I know some of these, you know, some of you guys are at the plantation, so you might can't leave a comment or things like that. But please, if you're still there, if anybody's listening, drop a 1 in the chat for me to let me know that the audio and everything is good and I'm coming through clearly. If you could, I would greatly appreciate it. Right? All praises be to the Most High for all those that are tuned in and will tune in later. Now, this is a brother that did some work for the Most High Yahweh, right? And we're going to read some of this. The sin of Peor, right? Numbers 25, verse 1. And Israel bold Shinnim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. So as they get into the land, the first thing they start to do is commit what? Whoredom with the daughters of who? Moab. And they called the people unto sacrifices of their gods, and the people did eat and bow down to their gods. So are Israelites supposed to bow down to other gods? No. How do we know that? That's one of the first commandments. Let's show it, right? I always like to show it for people to reference or go back so they can't say, well, no, you can, and this, no, you can't. This is the 10 commandments, as you can see it on the screen. Exodus chapter 20, the 10 commandments, right? I am Yahweh, thy power, or thy Allah. Allah means power. Elohim or Elohayim means powers, plural, Hebrew, though, right? Which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of what? Bondage. So Egypt is synonymous with what? Bondage, slavery. And the Most High said he brought the children of Israel out of that. Verse 3, thou shalt have no other gods before me. So you can't have any other deities or gods before him. So if you are going and you're bowing down to the Moabites gods, then that will put him, the Moabite God, before the Most High Yahweh. Here it is here, verse 4 and 5. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that's in the Shemayim or heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Verse 5, here it is. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them. And this is what the children of Israel were doing right when we go back, Numbers 25. So they were committing sin against the Most High right after they got the commandments. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, which they were doing. They were sacrificing, they were eating food. For I, Yahweh, thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Now, those children of Israel that was in Numbers 25, they were doing this and they were bringing this type of stuff upon their children to the third and fourth generation. Why? Because in verse 2, it says, and they called the people unto sacrifice of their God. Who? The Moabites' God. And the people did eat, so they did participate and bow down to who? Their gods. That goes directly against Exodus 20 and 5 and 6. Clearly. But let's read on. And Israel joined itself to Baal Peor, and the anger of the Most High Yahweh was kindled against who? Israel. Why? Because they were sinning. They were going against the Most High. Khan, the water for that. He put a 1 in the chat. Boy, hey, we appreciate that. We appreciate that. He put a 1 in the chat, so everything's coming through clear. I appreciate that. Shalawam once again. Thank you for tuning in. So verse 4, we'll read this. And Yahweh said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people and hang them up before Yahweh against the sun, that the fierce anger of Yahweh may be turned away from who? Israel. So basically, Moses had to behead these people that were bowing down to who? The Moabite God. Verse 5, and Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye every one his man that were joined to who? Baal Peor. So they had to go put it down. Now, did Moses call a man that wasn't about it? Did Moses call somebody who really didn't believe and tell those men, look, slay ye every one his man that were joined to Baal Peor? No, he called men that were about it. Why? Because say they wasn't really about it when they came across another Israelite brother that had joined himself to Baal Peor, they may not have slayed him. Oh, it's not all that bad. He really didn't really do anything. Maybe he was a little lost or no. This was an order. It said, and Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay every one. We can get it in the in any other type of translation you want. Even in the New King James, you see right here. So Moses said to the judges of Israel, every one of you kill his men who were joined. We're talking about death right here. Each of you must put to death the man under authority who have joined in worshiping Baal Peor. Right? So this is coming from the Most High. You had to put this work in. You had to be about it. Now, would you be willing to do this as a believer? Would you be willing to do this if Moses came to you and said that you needed to slay these men that were joined to Baal Peor? Well, let me tell you something. You have men like this today that are joined to Baal Peor, Baal Peor, however you want to pronounce it. You have men to this very day. Are you willing to slay them? Huh? Are you willing to disassociate yourself from them? To come out from among them and not still be with them? Verse 6, and behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brother a Midianite woman. Midianite or Midianite woman in the sight of Moses and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping. They're crying before the door of the tabernacle and the congregation. Now the children of Israel are sitting in front of the tabernacle, the door. They're crying. They're weeping. And here come another Israelite brother bringing another type of woman, Midianites. Right? This Midianite woman, he's bringing her in there. So verse 7 says, and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, this is who we want to focus on, right? The son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it. He rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. He didn't ask nobody, right? He didn't ask, hey, brother, hey, I know why. You still there? I know why. You still there? If you still there, put a 1 in the chat. Understand. For those who don't know, I'm speaking to my brother. That's his Hebrew name. But listen, Phinehas, he didn't ask nobody. It says, and when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest saw it. Listen, he saw it. He rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. Verse 8. And went after the man of Israel into the tent. He didn't get up with nobody. It was already in his heart what he had to do. He knew when he seen this that he had to be about it, because over here the Most High had already gave the command to Moses and told Moses to tell the judges of Israel to slay every one his man that joined to this type of stuff. So when Phinehas seen it, he just jumped up. He like, man, this can't happen. And then he went in, He went in the tent after the man of Israel and thrust both of them, not just him, but both of them through the man of Israel and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel. And those that died in the plague were 24,000. 24,000 people died that day. The zeal. Listen, look at what the Most High called it. The zeal. Do you have the zeal of the Most High? That's what you have to ask yourself. Ask yourself that question. Do you have the zeal of the Most High? Khan, the water. He say, I'm still here. All praises be to the Most High Yahawah. I'd say, I'm still here, rocking with you. Now you have to just ask yourself, do you have that zeal? Verse 10, and Yahawah spake unto Moses, saying, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, have turned my wrath away from the children of Israel, while he was zealous. Whoa, imagine the Most High Yahawah. Imagine Yahawah and YAHAWASHI and the Malaks having a conversation about you in the Shemayim about how zealous you were for him. Oh, man. Just think about that. that the Most High is saying that you were zealous for him. You were zealous. While he was zealous for my sake, among them, he's saying, that I consume not the children of Israel in my jealousy. Verse 12. Wherefore say, behold, I give unto my... Wait a minute. Do you see this? Do you see this? Wherefore say, behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace. So in your zealousness, in your zeal for doing the will, doing the work, doing whatever it is that the Most High has put on your heart, in your zeal, the Most High sees that. And listen, look at what he brought him with, right? That he gave him a covenant of peace. Listen, and he shall have it, and his seed after him. So it not only baraked him or blessed him, it baraked his seed after him. Just as far as the other one that we just read in Exodus chapter 20, verse 5 and 6, when these people were bowing down to Baal Peor, that it was going to affect their children because they were sinning to the third and fourth generation. But it's the same thing on the flip side, that if you have that zeal and if you endure to the end, you don't go to the left or to the right, you stay focused on the Most High Yahweh, and you have that zeal. He's saying that what? As you can see right here in verse 13, it's on the screen, and he shall have it, and his seed after him. Not only him, but his seed, even the covenant of an everlasting what? Priesthood. So all of his sons will be priests. He will have an everlasting priesthood. Everlasting, because he was what? Zealous. Phinehas, he was very zealous. When they walked in with that Midianite woman, he jumped right up and says he was zealous for who? His power, the Most High, Yahweh, and made an atonement for the children of Israel. What was that atonement? Killing off those evil, wicked Israelites, right? And then it goes on to name the name of the woman, of the Midianite woman, and things like that. But I just wanted to show how Phinehas was what? He was very zealous for the Most High. He was about it. He didn't just talk about it. He was about it. He was being about it. As soon as the order was given, it said he rose up. Right here, he rose up from among them with a javelin in his head, or a javelin in his hand, right? Let's get another one. Some our other brother. Let me check the chat real quick. Khan. The brother say he's still here. Khan. All right. All praises. And I'm not sure if the brother Cyrene is still in here. If he is, leave a one in the chat. Oh, you didn't even, that's right, you wasn't here on the Shabbat, Brother Philip. This was one of the brothers that had tuned in on the Shabbat. So hopefully you guys get a chance to kind of dialogue with each other. I don't know if he's still in the chat or not. Let me see. Brother Philip shares some. 2 Chronicles 34, 1 and 7, ESV. Let me pull that. Con. Let me go back real quick. Let me pull that on the screen for the brother before we move on to the what I was going to move on to. 2 Chronicles. What chapter was that? Let me see. 34. 2 Chronicles 34. We said 1 through 7. ESV though. ESV. Let me get the ESV. Con. Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem, right? 31. That's a beautiful time. I mean, he reigned for a long time. Con, I see you was about it. Con, we finna read it, right? He reigned for 31 years. That's a long time in Jerusalem. Verse 2. And he did what was right in the eyes of Yahweh, Con, and walked in the ways of David, his father. And he did not turn aside to the right hand to the left hand, right? Now, what does that go into verse 2? Well, that goes into what we just read earlier in the book of Sirach, chapter 2, for those who was, listening, when he says don't go to the left or don't go to the right or don't leave the Most High Yahweh, right? It's crazy how the Bible says the same thing over and over again. Let me just show this because, hey, man, I just love doing this, I love doing this, and I just love to show because I love when people really get fired up about this, and have this understanding. Look, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 2, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2. We're going to go right back to 2 Chronicles and finish that. It says, believe in him, and he will help thee order thy way aright. Trust in him. Ye that fear Yahweh, wait for his mercy. Listen what it said right there. And go not aside, lest ye fall. Go not aside, lest ye fall. The same thing that the brother Philip is sharing right here in 2 Chronicles. The same thing, right? Verse 2. As you see right here. I know it's speaking about an individual, but it's telling us all as Israelites, and he did not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. He didn't go aside. He didn't. This one was about it, as the Ak just said. Josiah was about it. Verse 3. For in 8 years of his reign, or the Salakia, for in the 8th year of his reign, while he was yet a boy, he began to seek the Most High, or began to seek Allah of David, his father. And in the 20th, or the Salakia, the 12th year, he began to purge Judah and Jerusalem of the high places, the Asherim, and the carved and metal images, right? Get that stuff up out of here. And they chopped down the altars of Baals in his presence and cut down the incense altars that stood above them. And he broke in pieces the Asherah or Asherim and the carved and metal images. And he made dust of them and scattered it over the graves of those who had sacrificed to them. Why? Because that's going to be on their head. Same thing Moses did. Same thing Moses did when he did what? He didn't put it over their graves, but what did Moses do when he came down off the mountain and it had the golden calf, right? He made them burn it, melted the dust, and then he scattered the ashes, right? Verse 5. He also burned the bones of the priests on their altars and cleansed Judah and Jerusalem. All praises be to the Most High, right? All praises be to the Most High. In the cities of Manasseh, Ephraim, Simeon, and as far as Naphtali, in the ruins all around, he broke down the altars and beat the Asherim and the images into powder and cut down all the incense altars throughout all the land of Israel. Then he returned to what? Jerusalem. And this is the same way we have to be about it, right? Somebody bring up something about an image. Somebody bring up something about a cross, or why you don't wear a cross, or, why you don't have no images of the Most High, or, like me and the Ak was speaking the other day. Yesterday, I was sending him information, about this evil, wicked day that's coming up. You got Halloween, and then you got November 1st, which is, I believe, the Devil's Day. What do they call it in Spanish? The Day of the Dead or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know how to say it in Spanish, but you got these 2 wicked days is coming up in about 2 weeks, that we got to go hard. We got to call it for what it is for those that's about it. We got to go hard for this. What the brother say, point of the story is King Josiah would be considered an extremist for the Most High Yahweh SHAM YAHAWASHI Khan. So I guess we would be extreme, because we and I feel like we need to go harder. We need to go harder. But yeah, he was an extremist. And just like the other brother that we just spoke about, Phinehas, right? He was an extremist. So we can see I brought out Numbers 25, right? And then the Ak right here, he just brought out Second Chronicles, right? Chapter 34. So we have showed you two extremists in the Bible that was about it. They didn't just talk about it, but they was being about it, right? Meaning they was actually doing the work. Like James say, don't just be a hearer of the word, actually be a doer, right? I can show you my faith by what? My works, the things that I'm about, the things that I do, the work that I put in. It shows that I have faith. It shows that I believe. It shows that I give praises to the Most High Yahweh by some of my Mashiach Yahawashai. Let's get this other one real quick. Daniel, chapter 3, right? For those who know, you already know. I ain't got to read the whole story. If you don't know, please go back and read the whole book of Daniel. Not just don't start at chapter 3. Read the whole book. For those who do know, we're talking about Nebuchadnezzar. And let's just jump right to it because, you know, this is a well-known story, and that's why I wanted to bring it out. Where I want to start. So basically, this is about Daniel and his compadres, right? His friends. And them getting put into the fire because they wouldn't do what? They wouldn't bow down to this image, which I already went over, and I don't have to show it again. That's in what? Exodus 20, right? 3, 4, 5, and 6. About bowing down to what? Graven images and not having any other what? God's deities before the Most High. Why? Because he has brought us out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And we can't have anybody or have any other deities, powers before the Most High Yahweh, right? So these men right here understood this, and I'm going to read this real quick. Daniel chapter 3, verse 9, I'll say, they declared to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Verse 10, you, O king, have made a decree that every man who hears the sound of the horn, the pipe, the lyre, the harp, the baggy, every kind of music shall fall down and worship the what? Golden image. So you had to, when you heard this music, when you heard these things, you had to fall down and worship who? The golden image. Well, us as believers, we don't worship graven images. Golden, silver, we wouldn't care what it was. It could be sparkled with diamonds, encrusted with diamonds, emeralds. If it's an image, we're not bowing down to it, right? Verse 11. But whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast into a burning fiery furnace, Salakia. Fiery furnace, right? So this is what if you don't bow down, if you don't fall down and you don't worship his graven image, what's going to happen? You're going to be cast into the fire, right? Verse 12. There are certain Jews. Oh, they snitching. They snitching big time. Look at them, ready to throw us under the bus. There are certain Jews whom you have appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, pay no attention to you. They do not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. Why don't they? Well, we already showed you. Go back to Exodus chapter 20 and read from just start at 1 all the way down to 6, and you will see. And as Jews or believers or Israelites or the 12 tribes of Israel, we don't bow down to no images. No images. None. So Shadrach and them, they were upholding the Most High's commandments. Verse 13. Then Nebuchadnezzar, his furious rage, commanded that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought. So they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said unto them, is it true? Is it true, Shadrach, Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the golden image that I have set up? Is this true? Let's see what they say. Did they fold? Did they get timid? Huh? Let's see what they say. Verse 14. Is it true? That's what he wants to know, that you don't serve my God. Verse 15. Now, if you are ready, when you hear the sound of the horn, the pipes, and every kind of music to fall down and worship the image that I have made, well and good. But if you do not, as it says right here, but if you do not worship that image, you shall immediately be cast into the burning furious fire, or the fierce furnace, fiery furnace, Salakia. And who is the Allah, or the God who will deliver you out of my hands? So they got something on their hands real heavy right here. They got something on their hands real heavy right here. They got to think about, what should I do? Should I bow down to the image that he asking me to bow down to? Or should I listen to the Most High? What should I do? Should I bow down to the image, or should I listen to the Most High and not bow down? If I don't bow down, this guy, Nebuchadnezzar, is going to throw me into a fiery furnace. But if I do bow down, I'll live, but I'll disrespect and go against and sin and transgress the Most High commandments in Exodus chapter 20 that he told the children of Israel. Let's see what they said. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, this is what they said to the king: "O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter." They said, listen, what you told us don't mean nothing. We're not scared. If getting cast in a fiery furnace is what it's going to take, oh well. We don't care. We serve the Most High Yahweh by SHAM, HaMashiach, YAHAWASHI, the anointed one. We don't care about your image. We don't care about you wanting us to bow down. So much so that they said we have no need to answer you in this matter. We already showed you that the first time that we wasn't going to bow down. You think because you threatened us that we going to bow down? He said we're not even going to answer you. Verse 17. If this be so, our Allah, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. That's faith. That's faith. James said faith without works is dead. This work right here. This work. Huh? What you say? What you feel? Is this work? I feel that it's work. You could see the fiery furnace. You know where it is. You know where it is. These men wasn't scared. They didn't tremble. They wasn't timid. They wasn't what's the word that I'm looking for? Let me see. Hold on. It's a word that I'm looking for. Man. It's not timid. Man, it was another word that I was looking for. I just can't find it right now. It's on the tip of my tongue, man. I hate that. Man. Timid. You know. Faint-hearted. That's the word. I don't know, man. It took so long to find it. Faint-hearted, right? These guys was not timid. They was not faint-hearted. They was about it. They were about it. They didn't just talk about it. They were being about it, right? Anyway, verse 18. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. So they said they're not going to worship it. They're not going to worship his deity. They're not going to bow down to the golden image. None of that stuff. So get your fiery furnace ready. In verse 19, it says that Nebuchadnezzar was filled with fury, and the expression of his face was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And he ordered the furnace to heat it 7 times more than it was usually heated. Oh, he's outraged now. He can't believe that these men, these slaves, these people that he has put in captivity would come up to him and tell him what they not gonna do. So now he's engulfed, he's enraged. That so much so that he wanted to heat that furnace up 7 times more, just to show I'm gonna burn them up. Verse 20, and he ordered some of the mighty men of his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and to cast them into the burning fire, right, or the fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in cloaks and tunics and hats and other garments, and they were thrown into the burning fiery furnace, because the king's order was urgent, and the furnace overheated. The flame of the fire killed those men who took up Shadrach. So the king was so outraged, there's so many things going on, that the men that actually took Shadrach and them up to put them in the furnace, they end up dying, right? And verse 23 says, and these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell bound into the burning fiery furnace. Then the king was astonished and rose up in haste and declared into his counselors, did we not cast three men bound into the fire? They answered and said to the king, true, O king, true. Verse 25, he answered and said, but I see 4 men unbound, walking in the midst of the fire. They are not hurt, in their appearance, Salakia, and the appearance of the 4th is like a son of the gods. Who is he speaking about? Well, he could possibly be speaking about Hamashiach Yahawashi, Christ, the anointed one, right? Definitely could. There was a 4th one in there protecting them. Why? Because they had to work. They had the zeal. They was about it. They didn't just talk about it. They just didn't walk around and say, oh, I'm an Israelite. I wear fringes. I believe in Yahawah, SHAM, Mashiach Yahawashi, Kwam Yasharala. No, they didn't just do that. When the trial came, when the tribulation came, they was about it, right? I'm gonna show somebody else that's about it in the New Testament. Verse 26 says, and Nebuchadnezzar came near to the door of the burning fiery furnace. He declared, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out and come here. So now you want them to come out and come here. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out from the fire. They came out. Well, if they came out, you know that they wasn't burnt up, right? And it even goes on right here to tell you they saw that the fire had any power over their bodies of those men. None. It had no power over their bodies. Listen, their hair of their heads was not signed. Their cloaks was not harmed, and no smell of fire had come upon them. Nebuchadnezzar answered and said, Barak, or blessed be the Allah of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his malak, his angel, and delivered his servants, who trusted in him. What did they do? They trusted in the Most High Yahawah. They put their trust in him, and they was willing to go to the death. Same thing, and same. I'm gonna show you. Peter did the same thing. They put their trust in who? The Most High, and his only begotten Son, Mashiach Yahawashi, who trusted in him and set aside the king's commandment and yielded up their bodies What did they do? They yielded up their bodies. They were ready to die. They put their bodies on the line. They was about it. They didn't just talk about it. They was being about it. They was like, yeah, let's do it. And it wasn't just one of them. It was all three of them. Meaning that they were what? They was moving as one body, one mind. They was like, if he doing it, I'm doing it. We all doing it together. All praises be to the Most High Yahweh. Then yielded up their bodies rather than serve and worship any God except their own power, which is the Most High Yahweh, the Ancient of Days, the giver of life, the taker of life, right? Some people might say the Al Aliyan or the El Aliyan, however you want to use it, whether it's Yiddish or whether it's the new Hebrew or the ancient Hebrew, the Paleo Hebrew, right? He has a lot of titles, the Ancient of Days, the giver of life, the taker of life, right? Many different titles. But these men were willing to do what? Stand up for the Most High. Therefore, I make a decree, any people, nation, or language that speak anything against who? The Most High, the God, the Allah of who? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be torn limb from limb, and their houses laid in ruins. But there is no other Allah, God, who is able to rescue in this way. The king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Why did he do that? Because they was willing to be about it. They didn't just talk about it. And through the power of the Most High Yahweh, they got promoted, lifted. Why? Because he say, humble yourself and I shall exalt you, right? In due time. And they humbled themselves under who? The hand of the Most High. And they knew that the Most High said, don't bow down to that graven image. Right, you serve me, and they was willing to take it to the death, and that's the same thing. How we started off this lesson in Deuteronomy chapter 8. He said, "I led you in the wilderness those 40 years to do what? Prove you to see what was in your heart." This was a test from the Most High to prove them to see what was in their heart. Was they gonna bow down and listen to man, or was they gonna listen to the Most High? That was a test. That was a test. Just like in Deuteronomy 8, he says, I led you in the wilderness these 40 years to prove you, to humble you, to see what was in your heart, whether you was going to keep my commandments or not. Well, he proved Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? Where? In their captivity. A lot of people fumble in their captivity like they doing now, right here. They fumbling and stumbling, giving up, throwing in the towel, waving the white flag. But these men didn't do that. And in not doing that, they was what? Exalted. Same thing Peter said in the New Testament, right? Let me get that. Let me see. Let me go back to the KJV. I didn't even know. Where was I speaking at? Peter, Acts 5, real quick. So we just went through Abednego, right? And the other brothers. And this is Peter in the New Testament. Same thing, right? He wasn't a king, but basically he had power over what was what was going on, because I believe it's the high priest, right? Verse 28, it says, saying, did not we strictly command you that you should not teach in this name, right? So the high priest and the council, the Pharisees and all these people, they told Peter and the disciples not to teach Hamashiach Yahawashai. We strictly commanded you don't teach this name. And behold, you have filled Jerusalem with your doctrine, right? About Hamashiach, about Christ, and intend to bring this man bloods upon us. Then Peter said, verse 29, then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey the Most High rather than man. Same thing, Meshach, Abednego, same way they felt is the same way Peter and them felt. Why? Because they was about it. They said we ought to obey the Most High, just like they did back there with Nebuchadnezzar. We're going to obey the Most High. We know he spoke the commandment, said, don't bow down with no graven images, right? This man told Peter and the apostles not to preach Hamashiach Yahawashi, right? But Peter knew he was commanded to go out and preach the gospel, the good news. And then after he told them that, he started going into a whole nother thing, right? I'm not going to read all this, but I'm going to just read a couple things because it gives praises not only to the Father, but his only begotten Son. Verse 30, and the Most High of our fathers raised up Yahawashi, whom you slew and hanged on the tree. Him have the Most High Yahweh exalted with his right hand to be a prince and a savior, for to give repentance to who? Israel, and forgiveness of sins. And we are his witnesses of these things. And so is also the Holy Ghost, right? Whom the Most High Yahweh have given to them that obey him. All praises be to the Father Yahweh, call Hello Yahweh SHAM Yahweh. As it says right here, John 15, there's no greater love, right? We'll get that real quick. There's no greater love. John chapter 15, verse 13 is what I want. Here it is. John chapter 15, verse 13. Greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends, right? And you are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you. So Meshach, Abednego, right? They were the Most High's friends, right? Those men were the Most High friends. Why? Because to do whatsoever I command you. And they did that. They were willing to lay down their life. Verse 15. They were, Salakia. Verse 13, chapter 15. They were willing to lay down their life for who? The Most High. Say, we're not bowing down to that gold image, Nebuchadnezzar. Phinehas, he jumped up. He was about it. And he was like, man, I want to save my brother, and I don't want this plague to kill us all off. So he jumped up with the javelin and hit the girl, hit the Israelite. And not only that, Moses had to put 24,000 to death. The Most High told him to put the heads of the people on picks towards the sun. They were about it, right? So there's no greater love than a man to lay down his life for his friends. Hamashiach Yahawashi is our friend, right? This is why I call him our brother, our friend, right? Why? Because verse 15, henceforth I call you not servants. He doesn't call us servants. For servants know not what their master doeth, right? He doesn't call us servants. But I have called you friends. We're friends, associates, companions. For all things that I've heard of my Father, I have made known unto you. All praises. So whatever the Father told him, he made it known to us. He didn't hold nothing back. So like I say, you got to be about it. You got to be about it. You know, he didn't hold anything back. Let me get another person. So we don't went to Phinehas. We went to King Josiah that I brought out, Philip. We went to who else? We went to Meshach, Abednego and them. We just went to John. We went to Peter and the other apostles when they said we ought to obey the Most High in Acts 5 and 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said we ought to obey the Most High rather than man. Right? So we got to obey the Most High. Let me get another one in the New Testament. This is why I say it's all throughout the Bible. We don't start it from the beginning of the Bible all the way to the end of the Bible. Here's another one. Everybody loves him, or most people, I should say. Brother Paul, right? Brother Paul. I say most people, you know, some people do have a problem with Paul, but, you know, most people love Paul writings. So we'll go to Paul. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 11, and I'm going to start at verse 21. I'm going to go all the way down, right? Once again, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 21. I'm going to read this in the NLT, New Living Translation. It says, I'm ashamed to say that we've been too weak to do that. But whatever they dare to boast about, I'm talking like a fool again. I dare to boast it too. Are they Hebrews? Question. So am I. Are they Israelites? Question. So am I. Are they descendants of Abraham? Question mark. So am I. Right? He's basically boasting about who he is, what he's attributed, or what he's attached to, descendants and things like that. Right? Verse 23. Are they the servants of Christ? I know I sound like a madman, but I have served him far more. So Paul is making a claim that he has served Christ more than all of these other people. He said, I serve Christ, Hamashiach in the Hebrew, more than these people. I have worked harder. He's about it. Forgive me. I get passionate. So for those out there that may be watching, you might say, why is he so theatrical? Why? I get passionate, man. I really do. And he says, I have worked harder, been put in prison more often, been whipped times without number, and faced death again and again. Does this sound like the Christians? Does this sound like believers today that this is what they're signing up for? Huh? Do you know when you become a believer in Hamashiach or Christ, these are the things that you're signing up for, as Paul is speaking about? Verse 24, he says, 5 different times the Jewish leaders gave me 39 lashes. 5 different times. Not just one time. 5 different times he says that the Jewish leaders, the leaders of that day, gave him 39 lashes. And you know when they gave lashes, they did it in front of everybody. So it wasn't in a little corner somewhere. They made it publicly known. You know, people came to watch this. Verse 25. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Wow. Our brother, Paul. These are the things that he went through for us to be able to leave this information that we may be able to understand how he was about it. He just didn't talk about it. He really was about it. And he's trying to tell us that we must be about it just like he was, just like Phinehas was, just like Peter was, just like everybody else that we have read about today, King Josiah. You have to be about it. He said 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. He said once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. Once I spent a whole night and a day adrift at sea. Oh, man. I can't even think about going to the beach right now, getting in the water, let alone being adrift at sea for a whole night and a day. Oh, I would be sick. I would just be sick. I wouldn't even know what to do, where to start. Just being out there in the ocean adrift with all these animals, sharks, fishes, everything out there. And you just stuck out in the sea. You don't know what to do. You can't do anything. Oh. But he still called on the Most High, right? He still called on the Most High. All praises be to the Most High, Yahawah. I mean, this is, oh, man. This is a lot, right? It's a lot. But as we continue on, we know that Paul is a stronghold. We know he a strong individual, I should say, that he put the work in. So he was shipwrecked for a whole night, whole day, adrift at sea. Verse 26, I had traveled on many long journeys. I have faced danger from rivers and from robbers. I have faced dangers from my own people, the Jews. So not only did he have to worry about the elements, and as he says, the other people of the world, as he's going to say, as well as from the Gentiles, he had to worry about his own people too. So everybody was out to get Paul. The Gentiles was out to get him. The Jews was out to get him. The robbers was out to get him. And he just didn't have, it just seemed like he just went through a lot of stuff. Like he said, I was beaten, I was stoned, I was shipwrecked. Verse 27, I have worked hard and long, enduring. Once again, Matthew 24:13, that you have to endure to the end to be saved, right? He says, I have worked hard and long, enduring many sleepless nights. How many sleepless nights have you went through as a believer? Someone who believes on Hamashiach Yahawashi, sleepless nights because of the work you put in. Huh? You got off of work 8-10 hours, came home, did a lesson, went out to the street, preached, came back home, did another lesson, up to 3, 4 in the morning, had to jump up, go to work, only was able to lay down for an hour, if that, went back again, did the same thing again. And then had to travel somewhere on the next day and go and drive for 4 hours and then go preach and then drive back home for 4 hours and just putting in work, enduring many sleepless nights. I have been hungry and thirsty and have often gone without food. I'm sorry that our brother Paul went without food, right? It shouldn't have to be, but as we learn, as we get further, food wasn't as an important thing as it is now. As long as you ate something every, other day, couple days, you were okay. I have shivered in cold without enough clothing to keep me warm. Then, besides all this, I have the daily burden of my concern for all the churches. The churches are the bodies, the members of the body. So with all that he got going on, he got to look out for robbers, jackers, Jews, Gentiles, being stoned, shipwrecked, all this stuff he got going on in his mind, with all that, on top of all that, as he says, I have the daily burden. So this is a daily burden of my concern about what? The body. That's his daily concern. How the body doing? How the body doing? How Corinth doing? How's Ephesians doing? Right? How's Galatia doing? How's Timothy doing? How's Barnabas doing? How's Peter doing? How's Bartholomew doing? What's going on in Jerusalem? Like all this is in his head. Whew. Who is weak without me feeling that weakness? Who is led burn with anger? I mean, it's just a lot going on, man. It's just a lot really going on. There's just a lot really going on. But this is Paul. Let's get Peter real quick, right? Because Peter is basically saying the same thing. Let's get Peter. 1 Peter chapter 4. This is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 1. It says, so then, since Hamashiach suffered physical pain, you must arm yourself with the same attitude he had. So Hamashiach Yahawashi suffered, right? Christ suffered. So you got to suffer. This is what Peter is telling us. You're going to have to be about it. You can't just talk about it. You can't just say I'm a believer. You just can't say I believe in Christ, right? You're going to have to do something. Anyway, let me read this. So then, since Hamashiach suffered physical pain, you must arm yourself with the same attitude he had. So the same attitude that Christ had is the same attitude that we have to have. And he was about it. He didn't just talk about it. He took it all the way to the death. And even while he was hanging up there, he still prayed for those people that was down there mocking him, spitting on him, right? That had put him up there on the tree. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they have done or what they do. With this same attitude, right? We just read it in John 15:13. There's no greater love than for a man to lay down his life for his friends. You got to arm yourself with that same attitude. You willing to lay down your life for another brother, for another friend, for the brotherhood? You got to arm yourself with this same attitude. This is what Peter's saying. Once again, 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 1. Since Hamashiach suffered physical pain, and anybody who knows Christ know he suffered physical pain. If you don't think he did, then you don't believe in Christ. Peter said you must arm yourself with the same attitude he had. Meaning you need to be in that same mindset. You need to walk as Christ. You need to walk as Hamashiach Yahawashi. The same thing he did, the same way he moved is the same way you need to move. The same mindset he had is the same mindset that we should have. And be ready. Look at what Peter says. I'm going to highlight this. And be ready to suffer for it. Are you ready to suffer for Christ? Because the rock of the church who was left, Peter, he says, and be ready to suffer too. For if you have suffered physically for Christ, Hamashiach, you have finished what sin. You won't spend the rest of your lives chasing your own desires. What's your own desires? Oh, you want to be a basketball player, a football player, a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, a rapper, an entertainer, a housewife. I don't know what it is that you want to do, but whatever your desire is, Peter basically said you won't spend the rest of your time chasing that. Whatever your desires is to be whatever you want to be in this world. Peter said you won't waste your time on that because you know that that's garbage now. You know that that's meaningless. It means nothing to the Most High. But he says right here, but you will be anxious to do what? The will of the Most High. So everything else you wanted to do, that's what you put that off now. That's gone. I don't want to be a basketball player. I don't want to be a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, a teacher, a garbage man, or whatever you had your desire on setting to be. You don't want to be that no more. But one thing you do want to be is what? You want to be anxious to do the will of the Most High Yahweh. Verse 3, you had enough in the past of evil things that godless people enjoy, their immorality, their lust, their feasting. Still going on today. Their feasting, drunkenness, wild parties, and their terrible worship of idols. Of course, your former friends are surprised when you no longer plunge into the flood of wild and destructive things they do. When they call you for that Halloween party. Well, you used to. I don't do it no more. You don't come to church on Sunday with us. I don't worship on Sunday. I worship on the Shabbat day, which is Saturday. And there's nothing wrong with worshiping on Sunday. We worship every day. But I'm not going to go to a service at a church unless they're going to let me preach at it. And I'm going to tell them the truth. That today is not the Lord's day, as you say. Yesterday was, which was the seventh day. This is the first day. So what do? Now you heard that. Somebody might be on here right now. They just heard that. Now they want to slander me. What? He said going to church on Sunday is wrong? How dare him? Now they're going to do what? Look at this guy on YouTube telling me that I was supposed to keep the Sabbath day. Where does it say that at? That's what Peter said. They're going to slander you. How dare him? I've been going to church for 45 years for Sunday. But I don't have to worry about that. You know why? Because Peter already wrote this for me and told me. Verse 5, but remember that they will have to face the Most High, who will judge everyone, both the living and the dead. So I ain't got to worry about it. That's why Peter said, don't worry about that. But remember that they going to have to face the Most High. All you can do is tell them. All you can do is tell them about the Shabbat. All you can do is tell them to be about it. Don't just talk about it. All you can do is let them know and warn them. That's all we can do. So we have Paul. We got Peter. We got Phinehas. We got Daniel, Meshach, Abednego. We got, who else did I pull out? Oh, I pulled out King Josiah. I mean, we've been hitting them. But with all that said, right, as we get ready to close out here, with all that being said, a moment of silence, I say. With all that being said, no one is greater than the Most High. Right? Hold on, before I get that, let me get this so we can see what the will, because it says no greater than do the will of the Most High, right? So let's see what the will real quick. This is John chapter 12. I started 48, but all who reject me and my message will be judged on the day of judgment of judgment. By the truth I have spoken. I don't speak on my own authority. This is Christ speaking. I don't speak on my own authority. The Father who sent me has commanded me what to say and how to say it. Verse 50. And I know his commands lead to eternal life. So I say whatever the Father tells me to say. So everything that the Christ has given us, it comes from the Most High. When we read John 15, it tells us that the servants don't know what their masters do. But that's why he doesn't call us servant, he calls us friends. Now that leads me to this as we was going to it anyway, that out of all the men that's on the earth, yeah, they was about it. You have some men that were about it that we went into, but nobody was like Christ. Nobody was like Hamashiach Yahawashi. This is why the Bible tells us, the very word of the Most High tells us to be like him, right? As we just read, had that in Peter, 1 Peter 4, had that same mindset, right, as him, being willing and ready to suffer, to be about it, to lay down your life for Christ. There was no one greater than him on earth, no man, right? And how do we know this? All praises be to the Most High for his only begotten Son, our brother, our friend, Hamashiach Yahawashi. If it wasn't for him, as we can see here in verse 5, we wouldn't have no way, right? That he humbled himself to take on flesh when he didn't have to come here, walk as we walk, showing us that it can be done, right? Sending all these men. And don't get me wrong, you have some ones that, you know, like Enoch and Elisha and or Elijah and, you know, a few others, Moses, Ezra, you know, but they still didn't have a clean jacket. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Nahum, like you just didn't have a clean jacket. Daniel, even Daniel was a man after the Most High heart, and he fell one time. But Yahawashi said, you know what, I go down there, I show him how to really walk and do it, and do the will of the Most High. Not turn to the left, not turn to the right, but really be about it. And I'll leave the example down there for him. I'll show him what it means to be determined and endure to the end. Here it is, verse 5, Revelation 5:1. Then I saw a scroll in the right hand of the one sitting on the throne. What's this? NLT? Let me get it in the just KJV. Salakia. We're getting ready to close out. Thank you for those that stayed tuned in, that did tune in. All praises be to the Father, the water. Revelation chapter 5, we'll start at verse 1. Then I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong Malach angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof. And no man in the Shemayim, which is heaven, nor in the earth, nor under the earth was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. So no man in the Shemayim, in the earth, or under the earth was able. No man in all time, from Adam to where we at now, 2025. No man, and even further than that, because they knew. No man was able to do it in heaven, in the earth, or under the earth, right? When John saw this, he said, I wept. I cried much, because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. So all John could do was cry, because he like, man, we in a dilemma. There was no man about it. A lot of men talked about it, but they wasn't really about it. And in that, since it wasn't nobody to open it, because nobody was really about it, right? John started to cry. He said, I wept much. I'm crying. Look at this predicament we in. Verse 5. And one of the elders saith unto him, weep not, meaning don't cry. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. Who? that Lion of the tribe of Judah, Hamashiach Yahawashi, the root of David, Christ. Verse 6, and I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the four beasts, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb, as it been slain. Who is that lamb? Hamashiach Yahawashi, having 7 horns, 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of the Rakaz of the Most High, sent forth into all the earth. Verse 7, and he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. So for any Trinitarian or any Christian that say that there's a Trinity and they're one, and it's the Father, and then it's the Spirit, and then it's the Son, and they're all encompassed of one, but the Father is. Listen, it says in Revelation chapter 5, and he came, meaning he had to be somewhere else, right? They were not 3 in 1. He was somewhere else. Who was the he? Christ. And took the book. Let me highlight this. And took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. Now, if they all together inside of each other, and it's just one body, and they all inside of each other, how can one? Where's this one that's off to the side that walked up to him and took this book out of his right hand? It has to be 2 right here. It has to be, unless the Bible is a lie. It says, and he took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and the 24 elders fell down. So after he took the book, he's walking off. The beasts and the 24 elders, what did they do? They fell down before the Lamb, not the Father, because the Father's sitting on the throne, who the Lamb just took the book from. So where are these Trinitarians talking about that there's a Trinity? The 24, they fell down before the Lamb, having one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayer of the saints, right? So they thought they falling down, they down on their knees. Verse 9, and they sung a new song saying, thou art worthy to take the book. Why was he worthy? Because he was about it. He didn't just talk about it when he came, he was about that life. And that's why he is our example. That's why it says walk as Christ walked. I'm going to get that as we close out. And they sung a new song saying, thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seal thereof. For thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to the Most High by the blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and hast made us unto a king, Salakia, and has made us unto our Allah kings and priests, and we shall reign on where? The earth. Everybody talking about they waiting on the rapture. They waiting to be taken up, raptured up. Why? The Bible says that the Christ is going to be here on earth. So if you're going to be raptured, where you going? And Christ's going to be here on earth. So I don't know, like I say, if you believe in the Trinity, if you believe in the rapture, just read some of this stuff. Take the time, read it for yourself, and get some understanding. But as we close out, let me go close. I said I was going to do this. First John, let me see. Here it is right here. 1 John chapter 2, verse 5. But whosoever keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of the Most High perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him. He that said he abideth in him, unto himself also walk. You see that? He that said he abideth in him, ought himself also so to walk, even as he walked. Right? And you can do Bible translations if you want, right? If this helps you. Those who say they live in the Most High should live their lives as Jesus did. NIV, whoever claims to live in him must live as who? Jesus did, Yahawashi. New King James says, whoever, or Salakia, he who says he abides in him ought to himself also to walk just as he walked. Just as Hamashiach Yahawashi walked is just how we should walk. So we give praises, honor, glory, esteem to the Most High Yahweh, and his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahawashi. Man, I truly hope this was edifying for you to build the nation up. You know, the water, thank you so much for those that did tune in and that will tune in later and watch this message. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave hit that like button for me. Shalawam to the brother Cyrene, the brother Philip, YAHAWAH. Thank you for all that tuned in. And like I say, hopefully this edifying for you. Hopefully this message was something that was well needed for the body. We give all praises, honor, glory, esteem to the Father Yahweh. Call Hello Yahweh by Shama Mashiach Yahawashi. With that, we say Shalawam and Kwam Yasharallah.